want to go once again. This inept stupidity. And that's even saying it lightly. Got some more white European trash, like the Trump family, dumped on the shores of America, creating havoc, hatred, pillage, raping, more murder, more slaughter, more victimization of humanity. And you got your news monkeys, drama queens, ratings, talk shows, couple Joes, MSN, CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC, all monkeys in that same jungle, sucking on that same proverbial banana that the extreme wealthy controls. And the surprising fact about this is that intelligent people accepts the tyranny, criminal activity of a terrorist regime you call a White House, Capitol Hill, DOJ, Supreme Court, lawmakers, legislation, House of Representatives, Senate, all of it. It's a bunch of garbage that they emptied out the English and Spanish royal sewers onto the shores of America. And you may think I'm harsh. You may think that I'm bitter. You may think that I'm angry, whatever the case may be. But like Clark Gable said, Scarlett, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. Because truth is truth. And as long as you colonists and sheep and sacrificial lambs keep mindlessly following, compliant, obedient, subservient, inept, ignorant, with no knowledge of truth. You've been told lies so long, you become mindless reprobates, like the evangelical rednecks, incest inbreeding down south. But somehow within that innate mind, you live in poverty, welfare, for decades and centuries. Somehow you think some Scottish piece of filth cares about you and is going to help you. But even in intelligent people, because your tax cuts makes you happy, or the more money or income you can make off your investments, this whole racketeering on Wall Street, and every single year it's nothing but repetitive inept ignorance of a stolen country of American people, because you just don't get it. You just don't have the capability. And I come to that conclusion. You don't have the capability or the intelligence of seeing what really goes on in this country. Because if you did, and even if the bits and pieces they give you on the news tells you how much of a criminal this man is, how much his pathological lies, his persuasion over idiots because they're not smart people. Because if they were intelligent people, they would see through the facade. They would see through the illusion of an adolescent tweeting, fat ass McDonald eating, liar, pussy grabber, mafia controlled, debt whore that is not wealthy. And if you want to challenge that, talk to any wealthy person. The Trump family is not wealthy. They are debt whores. Racked up so much debt they couldn't pay back. No bank would touch them. So they went outside the country to the Russian mafia, the only one that would pick up their debt. And if you can't see what's going on, this little web of deception and manipulation that you see going on in the news, there's no hope for you idiots. It just isn't. There's no hope for that level of stupidity. Because anybody who runs a White House, which is supposed to be your highest level of power, runs it like a mafia syndicate, with every scourge and criminal thug, gangster, thief, pirate, terrorist, like roaches crawling out of the cracks and gutters of the world. This is what you have as an administration. This is what you have as advisors. People who dealt in criminal activity for decades and centuries. And yet, you can't see through that. And I'm just wondering in my mind. Now, I am no genius by any means, but I have enough common sense to know that your intelligence agencies, all 17 organizations of you, and you FBI, and your law enforcement, your Supreme Court, your Congress, your lawmakers, if you can't see through this criminal activity in this country, you're more stupid than I ever thought you were. Because you pretty much secure my opinion of you with this debacle of justice that we see going on right now. A man's a known criminal, and you know he's a criminal. It's not even a fact that he's not a criminal. It has nothing to do with your Russian collusion. It has to do with his criminal activity and following his money, the money laundering, the secret backdoor communication with Russia. And it's not just Russia. It's China too. But for some innate reason, you morons just don't want to come to grips with it, because truth be told, you're so deeply involved in it, you can't. Because the only way a government, only way a law enforcement, only way people who say that they are true leaders in justice and law enforcement in the DOJ, the only reason why you won't put this orange-faced, adolescent tweeting, McDonald eating fat ass in handcuffs is because you're involved. That's the only reason, that somehow you're so knee-deep in this bullshit that somehow the Russian mafia has compromised you too. Homeland Security, FBI, CIA, NSA, MI5, MI6. Because the only way this mess would go on right now in this country is that it runs deep into that rabbit hole of the intelligence community. Because you knew who this man was, and I will stand by it to the day I die. You knew what this man was from day one. It's not a surprise. And you can't tell me that you didn't know what this man was about prior to his campaign. Anybody that extorts, steals, scams innocent people out of money in real estate deals. And that's not just in America, that's worldwide. And simply sit out there and use a child's fundraiser to launder money. And you knew this. This is no surprise. But yet, you'll sit here and have these monkeys from the news sit there and give you bits and pieces of the truth. They know this man's a criminal. They know his whole family was a criminal. Tax evaders, draft dodgers, pimps. Now, Obama had a family like that. He even never got into the White House. And you know it. So the whole distraction is talking about Hillary. And some emails, but you never heard the Republican Party, the Bush administration, having 20 million deleted emails and secret servers. Never heard about that. You never hear about this man's criminal involvement in the mafia. You never hear about that. Because these things you keep hush hush. Because if you knew that the American people got a hold of this, he would never even made it in office. Not that voting has anything to do with it in the first damn place, because it doesn't. You don't vote nobody in. I don't care how you can turn this upside down, and you can have your Ivy League, Harvard, Oxford, Ivy League assholes, and your so-called justice system, and your law book archives of historical pathological lies and deception and manipulation of the truth. You can't explain that. How is it possible that from a stolen country of theft and genocide, you could have justice? How can criminals have anything to do with justice? That's the first innate truth right there. Criminals know nothing about justice. They only understand one thing, and that's self-preservation. The stealing, the pillaging, the raping, the massacre and slaughter of humanity to procure what they want. And that's extreme wealth. And no, it's not just in America. It's all over the world. And no matter how you try and explain it, and no matter how you try to suppress it, there are people like myself who are out there every single day researching and finding the truth. But yet and still you have these monkeys hanging in these media trees, sucking on that same banana that the extreme wealthy control in their corporations what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. And no matter how you look at it, you've got some criminal Trump family talking about fake news when they're fake citizens, illegal immigrants, the sewer and filth from Scotland that they dumped over here. Just like they kicked their granddaddy out of Germany because he was a piece of draft dodging filth. And his father's brother, who's a pimp and tax evader. But somehow you accept this as civilized people. You accept this as people of honor, patriotism, common thieves, pirates, barbaric, uncivilized filth. But somehow that's okay with you. And my question to you is, where is your head? And innately, it's been up your ass for decades and centuries because you don't think. It's just empty space between those ears. They keep you in economical slavery with slave wages that never keeps up with the economy or inflation or the cost of living. You don't give a damn about your elderly and your children, because how can a so-called government allow poisoning of innocent children? You can't even write laws to control idiots from acquiring illegal weapons and goes into schools and killing your children. That's how incompetent and inept idiots that you are. And then you have the audacity and the gall to talk about justice. You don't even care about your children. Because if you cared about your children, you would have some kind of control over the arms these idiots get. And you can't say that you don't have the capability of controlling it. With your so-called FBI, law enforcement, CIA, NSA, Homeland Security. If you have 17 agencies, and that's just the ones that are known, and you have an NSA and a CIA, DEA, how can this happen in the first place? Unless somebody's getting paid. Unless somebody is getting kickbacks. And this is what they don't tell you on this news. The jungle of ratings and popularity among inept sheep, sacrificial lambs, and subservient idiots that don't know any better, that they live in that black hole of historical ignorance, which this country is overpopulated with. I struggle every day to look people in the eye, especially those of this Trump pansy movement. And you call yourselves evangelicals. Especially you incest, inbred, reprobate idiots down south. This Bible belt, Bible thumpers, that you're such historical reprobate idiots of racist, bigoted hatred that you don't even understand what the Bible means. You have no clue. Because if you had a clue, if you had any basic knowledge of Jesus or God or heaven, slavery wouldn't even exist. That's the first BS that they give you. So-called religious and evangelical, I love Jesus, but you enslave, you hang, tar and feather, rape, massacre, slaughter, lynch, tar and feather innocent people. I don't know what kind of Jesus you serve, but it's not the Jesus that I know. And you are exactly right about that. That Jesus has a white face and long hair and doesn't look like and never will look like the real Jesus. That's who you worship, the Jesus of money, the Jesus of pillaging and raping and stealing rich mineral resources from countries around the world. That's your Jesus. The fact that every day you try and explain why your so-called white hope Mueller that you go into a so-called fixer, Russian mafia clown, fake lawyer, nothing but a common hoodlum. And these are the people that are affiliated with your so-called president, your Manafort, your Greens, your Marascucci, whoever his name is, Scooch, Sarah Palin's, the Fox News idiots, the alt-right white extremists, which in fact, mind you, your white extremists in this country had killed more Americans than any terrorist, any Muslim, anyone out of ISIS. And that's a proven fact. But you'll blow up all this propaganda about terrorism, which is a bald-faced lie, because you have terrorists who invaded this country from day one, from the very inception of what your red, white, and blue fake flag bullshit represents. It represents terrorism of an invasion from royal filth and scum that you dumped on the Americas, sure, and slaughtered, massacred, pillaged, and raped innocent people. Now, nobody wants to be told this, but I'll keep telling it. Mainly because I'm part Native American and African American. So all this bullshit you feed people every day over that idiotitude, over the airways of a terrorist regime you call a White House and Capitol Hill, somebody tells the truth. Of what we participate in every day. And it's not a government, it's a terrorist regime. Reason why a common criminal like the Don Trump can get away with the crime that he has, still be involved in his businesses, profit off his businesses while being in the White House, influence hotels and golf courses being erected overseas, but they don't tell you about that. How he's conning and scamming other countries. This whole trade deal. That's something else they don't talk about. The increase in the economy of spending. If you go to your supermarkets every day, how the prices of food is going up, but nobody tells you that, because they keep you monkeys and sheep, sacrificial lambs, brain dead, and they keep you brain dead for a reason, because they don't want you to think. They want to keep this idiotic mess that's been going on for decades and centuries, that you mindlessly follow like a bunch of zombies that you are. And you have the gall and audacity to talk about justice. You never had justice in this country, and you never will. You never had loyalty. You never had patriots. You had common thieves and pirates and terrorists. You never had a flag that was symbolized of any democracy, of anything that is truth. You had a black flag of skull and bones, of pirates and thieves, that you hide behind your red, white, blue bullshit. And that's the fact of the matter that nobody will tell you. If you had a minute percentage of intelligence, you would research and find this out for yourself, as I did. As long as you're preoccupied with your selfie sticks and your technology and your Google and Amazon in your homes and your techie cars, all the technology zombies, you're so innately caught up in the technological world that common sense escapes you, that you're in prison in walls of inept ignorance and stupidity, that black hole of conformity and compliance and mindlessly following like idiot sheep and sacrificial lambs that you are. And I'm not going to be nice about it, because I'm so sick and tired of how stupid so-called civilized, intelligent people are. And that's you white collar America too. And that's your extreme wealthy America as well. And you so-called intelligence agencies and law enforcement and bribed and corrupt judges that you call a DOJ, and puppets and monkeys in black robes in your Supreme Court, your so-called Homeland Security. It's a Homeland syndicate of criminals and pirates. Tell the truth for what it is, just like your forefathers. Even the ones that had a conscience knew exactly what was going on. You knew about the totalitarian tyranny of a bunch of terrorists from Spain and England who hide behind some crown of bullshit that means nothing but a crown of pirates and criminals. Once again, that you pillaged and raped and slaughtered and murdered and genocide to achieve your extreme wealth that you so-called enjoy now, off of the blood of humanity. But nobody cares about that. The fact is, some of us do. That small percentage of true humanity that cares what happens to a victimized America. Until you people somehow have some empathy, some compassion, some basic common love of humanity, you're never going to get this. You're never going to see the light. You're never going to see the darkness within this filth that you call a White House in Capitol Hill. Somehow you have to take these rose tinted glasses of inept ignorance and stupidity off and see clearly what goes on